So last week I brought in some bones. Most of you were here, right? And I got some good feedback that it was helpful to see your bones like that. So I have some more bones. I didn't want to bring them today because it's raining, and I didn't want to get my bones wet. But I have some more bones, and I'll bring them in so we can see. Because I think it's important to know what, when we talk about the spine, like, do you have a good understanding of what your spine actually looks like? All the bones? And some of you do, but some people are like, I don't know, it's just kind of this thing in the middle of my body. Or it's this thing in the back of my body, right? So we kind of think of the spine being in the back of the body. It's actually a little more in the middle of your body because you got a whole lot of stuff on the back of your body, right? Got a whole lot of muscles and tissue and all kinds of stuff that kind of covers your spine. So it's not sitting right on the back. We just happen to have some bony prominences on that spine that stick out. So like if you touch your back and you can feel something there, you can feel the little bony prominences there. So I'll do that if it's helpful, and we'll spend a little time at the beginning of class just kind of going over that a little bit. So. All right. Well, let's do a little bit of breathing here. It's good to see a couple of folks with towels, and I wanted to mention that before we start. The floor does get a little cold, so if you have a hand towel and you want to bring that in to put your feet on when we're doing our class here, that can be really helpful. So just a thought. All right. Let's breathe now. How's that? So come right up to the front edge of your chair. Let your feet be directly underneath your knees. And lift up your toes and spread them out. And then see if you can just lower your toes down, let them be kind of relaxed there. Now notice if you're kind of leaning forward, if you're facing the floor, if your back is rounded. I'm going to try and bring the shoulders right above the hips. And then your head. So notice a lot of times our chins are lifted and we're kind of in this compressed position in the back of the neck and this lengthened position in the front of the neck. So just kind of tuck your chin under a little bit and let your head just kind of float on top of your shoulders. Almost like your head's a water balloon. It's sitting right up there. And if you haven't closed your eyes and it's comfortable for you to do that, I'll invite you to just kind of go inside here. Do a little assessment from inside your body. What does everything feel like this morning? What's feeling good? What's feeling a little challenging? Where are you tight? Where are you tense? Where are you relaxed? What feels easy and comfortable? And check in specifically this morning with your face. So we're going to bring your attention to the face. Is your brow furrowed? Are your eyes kind of squished together a little bit? Are your upper teeth and lower teeth, are they in contact with one another, or can you create some space between the upper teeth and lower teeth? And where's your tongue? Is your tongue plastered to the roof of your mouth, or can you relax your tongue and let it just kind of rest in the bottom of your mouth? So we sometimes create a lot of tension in the face unknowingly. The jaw and the tongue are two places where that tension starts oftentimes. And then get a sense of your skull. So around your ears, around the back of your skull. Notice if it's tense, if it feels tight, if you feel a pulling sensation. And then how your head connects to your body. So your head connects to your body mechanically through the spine or with the hardware through the spine, but then you've got all of this tissue. So the tissue in your neck, the muscles in your neck, the front, the sides, the back. Can you get a sense of whether that tissue, whether those muscles are tight or and contracted, or if they're relaxed and comfortable? And then what about your shoulder tops? Are they up around your ears, or can you relax your shoulder tops a little bit so that there's more space between your ears and your shoulder tops? And then continue down your body, so down your spine, the back of your body, the front of your body, the sides. Don't forget your arms and hands. Go down to your hips, your legs, your knees, your lower legs and ankles, your feet and toes. So just getting a sense of where you're holding tension, where you're able to let tension go. And as you hold this attention of your body, also bring your awareness to your breath and notice how the air moves in and out. And specifically, where does your body move in response to the breath? Can you feel a gentle expansion and contraction with every inhalation and exhalation? Perhaps you feel it in the belly or the rib cage. Maybe you feel it in the back of the body or the front of the body. It might be very subtle, might be really hard to discern. And let's begin to exaggerate the breath. So on the inhalation, imagine your belly like a balloon, and as you inhale, you're filling that balloon so it really expands. And on the exhalation, it's like you're letting air out of the balloon, so you feel your belly contract. So breathing in, the belly expands. Breathing out, the belly contracts. And see if you can feel that expansion come up a little higher in your body. So when you breathe in, your belly and your rib cage expand. And when you breathe out, your belly and your rib cage contract. And perhaps coming up even higher so that as you breathe in, your belly, rib cage, and way up under your collarbones expands. And as you breathe out, your belly, rib cage, and collarbones contract. Breathing in, breathing out. The body expanding and contracting. At the top of your next inhalation, whenever you finish inhaling, I'm going to ask you to pause and hold your breath in just for a beat, and then let your breath out. And again, with each inhalation, when you come to the very top of your inhalation, hold your breath in just for like a count of 2 or 3, and then letting your breath out. And each time you do this, see if you can breathe in a little bit more. So you're breathing in, you're holding your breath just for a beat, and then you're letting it out. But with each subsequent inhalation, you're getting a little more full with air. One more full deep breath in, holding your breath, and I'm going to ask you to hold it a little bit longer here. After you inhale, hold your breath until you feel like you really need to let the breath out. So hold it as long as it feels, until it feels a little uncomfortable. And when it feels a little uncomfortable, then let your breath out with a little bit of a sigh. And then go back to your natural breath. Just let the air flow in and out. Let your eyes gently open. And let's give the body a stretch like you're waking up. So take your arms up overhead. Give yourself a stretch. Maybe lean to one side and then the other. Oh. And then maybe come forward with one arm and the other arm, so we're just kind of stretching here. And then back behind you, so squeeze your shoulder blades together. You could clasp your hands or leave them open, and then relax your arms all the way down. Let's roll the shoulders forward, up, back, and down a few times. Letting the air flow in and out through the nose. Good, and then reverse direction of your shoulders. Notice if it's noisy up there this morning. Shoulders tend to be a little bit noisy. We're going to do a bit of work for the shoulders here to start. So take your arms out to the sides, and we're just going to come up to about shoulder height and then come all the way down. So it's just this really gentle kind of flapping movement with the arms. And as you're doing this, a couple of things. Reach through your fingers and lengthen your arms. And as the fingers get down toward the floor, reach down as if you were touching the floor. And at the same time, press into your sitting bones and lengthen your spine, right? So keep your arms below your shoulders. So you don't want to bring them way up overhead. We're just kind of getting this little movement here. Good. All right, one more time. Good. Okay. And now turn your hands so your thumbs are facing out. Okay, and keeping the thumbs facing out, we're going to do the same thing. Just come to shoulder height. Breathe in, breathe out. Reach out through your fingers, and then slowly lower down. So it's just going to be this movement, right? So we're just going to shoulder height, sitting up nice and tall. Good. Excellent. Great. One more time. Excellent. Next time your arms come out to the sides, we're just going to hold here. So we're keeping the thumbs, pardon me, thumbs are facing up, and then we're going to bend the elbows, bring your elbows into your body, squeeze your shoulder blades, keep your palms facing forward and your thumbs up, right? And then out to the side. Spread your fingers nice and wide, right? So you're making your hands as big as they can be. So we're going in and out, right? So like a little jazz dance here. Going in and out. So squeeze the elbows into the side of the body. Excellent. Good. Couple more times. Good. Next time they're in, we're going to hold here. Okay? So then bring your hands together and overlap them in the front. Keep the elbows tucked into the body and then go out to the sides. So keep your elbows in nice and tight, right? Don't let in other words, we're not doing this with the arms. We're keeping the elbows in really tight to the body. So the movement is happening here. Excellent. Good. All right. And the next time your hands are out, we're going to bring the arms way up overhead, palms forward, and then all the way down. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Bring the hands back as far as they'll go. Breathing in and out. So we're just squeezing the shoulder blade area. So really bring the hands, almost as if you could get your hands behind you, right? Breathing in, breathing out. Good. Excellent. And next time we bring the hands down, we're going to let the hands come right onto the shoulders. So we're just kind of holding here, and then we're going to kayak the arms. So just kind of kayaking forward and around, and twist your body a little bit here. So get some movement in the rib cage. Good. Where your ribs click into your spine, that's called your thoracic spine, right? We don't get a lot of movement in the thoracic spine, especially if we have difficulty breathing. And then reverse direction. So we're backing up the kayak a little bit here. Excellent. Okay, and then let's just take the right arm and we're going to sweep the right arm forward, up and around. So nice big circles with that right arm. If you're limited in what you can do with your shoulder, that's okay. If you can get this high, get that high. If you can get way up overhead, get way up overhead. So whatever position your arm can go in, even if you can't do much, you know, you could even do this. That's going to get some mobility in the shoulder. So we've got to work with what we've got. The next time your arm is down toward the floor, let's pause for a moment and we'll switch direction, go the other way. I like to have my arm down when I switch direction because the shoulder joint is in its least vulnerable position then. It's safest to make that transition when your arm is down because you're not extended with all kinds of exposure to those little tendons. Just a couple more. Good. And then let's go to the other side. So we'll just take the other arm, sweep it up and around. Now some people start going backwards, some people go forwards. Doesn't matter. We're going to be doing both. Again, if you're working with some limitation here in the shoulder or the elbow or the neck, you know, if you can only get this much, that's okay. You're getting some rotation in that shoulder. Make sure you're breathing. In and out through the nose is preferable. But if you can't do that, try breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Next time you're down, we're going to switch. Go the other way. Yeah. And notice if this shoulder works a little differently than the other shoulder. So oftentimes we have more mobility in one side of our body, and we generally have more strength in the other side of our body. That's just the way it goes. which side of your body do you carry the groceries in, and which side of your body opens the door to the house with the keys, right? That's the key there. Okay, let's relax that a little bit. Let's roll those shoulders. So the shoulders should be feeling nice and warm now, yeah? Is that a good assessment? All right, let's warm them up a little bit more. We're going to get the elbows involved. So with your arms stretched out to the sides, hands are a little bit lower than your shoulders. Make a light fist and imagine you've got 5 pounds in each hand, right? So feel that weight in your hands. Now, in order to bring your hand with the weight to your shoulder, you need to contract these muscles right here. These are your biceps muscles. So squeeze these muscles and slowly bring the fists right to the shoulders. And when you get here, give those muscles an extra squeeze. And then keep squeezing the muscles as you extend. So it's a lowering and a lifting, if you will, right? So imagine you've got 5 pounds in each hand and feel that, right? So I can just do this without any kind of thought, or I can really give it some thought and say, wow, so I'm creating some resistance here. I'm creating some resistance with the mind. I'm also creating some resistance because I'm really working the muscles there and squeezing those muscles. Good, just a couple more of these. Good. Okay, how about for the last two, we go to 8 pounds, right? So imagine you got 8 pounds. And see if you can feel that 8 pounds. That's a lot, right? It is, yeah. We're going to 15 for you, John. How about one more? Excellent. Now hold here and really squeeze those biceps muscles. Okay, now turn your fists forward a little bit. And now we're going to go to 10 pounds, and we're going right up overhead. Way up overhead. Press, press, press. Lift, lift, lift. And then as you lower, go very slowly. You got 10 pounds in each hand. And squeeze your shoulder blades together. Bring those weights down as far as they'll go, right? So going way up, slow, slow, slow. Breathe in, breathe out, and slowly down, right? You can feel those 10 pounds, can't you? I can. It's amazing, right? So we don't actually need to lift the 10 pounds to get the benefit of doing this. So 2 more. Can we do 2 more? If you need to back off to 8, you can do that. If you want to go to 15, feel free. I'm staying with 10. Last one. We're going to go right down and squeeze those shoulder blades. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Okay, and relax and drop those weights and shake everything out. Let your hands rest on your lap. Close your eyes. And I just want you to bring your awareness to your shoulders, to your arms. So those muscles in the front part of your upper arm, the biceps muscles. See if you can feel your forearms, all the muscles there doing a little bit of work. Take a breath in, let it out with a sigh. Okay, so let's take the hands up and we're going to circle at the wrists because we were doing that weight lifting there. The wrists can feel a little bit tight, and reverse direction of those circles. Good. All right, and then we're going to take the light fists and bring the knuckle part of your hand as close to your forearm as you can, so kind of like that, right? So it's kind of like that. Okay, so you're going to keep the knuckle part of your hand as tight to your arms as you can and extend your arms. So I'll go sideways so you can see. See how my knuckles are still reaching toward my arm. Keep them in that same position and come back, right? So the more you curl at the wrist, the more you're going to feel this in the forearm and around the wrist and possibly around the hand, right? So we're really stretching muscles and nerves there. Okay, breathing in, breathing out. Relax your jaws. Okay, last time. Good. And then let's circle that around. Whew. Can you feel that in your forearms? Yeah, right? Take your right arm, extend it out, fingers up, and then we're going to just pull back on the fingers. Now, straighten your elbow and keep your hand below your shoulder, right? So we oftentimes overuse the shoulder, right? So I'm going to lift my arm up, so this is what I do, and I'm using my shoulder. Instead, we're going to keep that arm down below, pull back on the fingers, and then very gently and just slightly bend the elbow, and then straighten the elbow, right? So go sideways so you can see. So it's a very slight bend. Breathe in, breathe out. All right, good. Okay. And relax that, circle around. Same thing on the other side. So extend that arm, pull back on the fingers. Again, watch that the fingers stay below the shoulder, and then a very slight bend in the elbow, and then a straightening. So when you bend the elbow, you switch the stretch to more of the wrist and the hand. And when you straighten the elbow, you switch the stretch to a little bit more of the arm and up into the elbow, right? So both are needed. So one isn't better than the other. Both are definitely needed. Just a couple more, right? Relax your shoulders and your jaw. Excellent. Okay, and then relax that and circle that around. Shake everything out. All right, take your hands and extend your fingers really wide. Relax your shoulders. So your shoulders have done a lot of work. Your arms and elbows have done a lot of work. Now we're just going to let the fingers do a bit of work, right? So holding the fingers out nice and long and extended, we're going to take the thumb and the first finger and see if you can bring them together without bending them, right? So not this, right? Not like that. I'm going to go like that. So I'm keeping them extended but moving toward one another. And then extend the thumb and then bring the thumb and the second finger. And then the third finger, right? So we're just keeping that length and we're going right down the line. So you can go down the line and then come back. Now notice if your jaw starts to get tight, if your shoulders start to get tight, if you forget to breathe, because this is kind of a weird little thing that we're doing here, right? Okay, just a couple more. How about the next time we get up to that first finger, we'll extend, and now we're going to relax the fingers a little bit and bend and see if you can make a circle with your thumb and your first finger, right? And then release that and make a circle with your thumb and your second finger, but not the other fingers, right? And then release that. And then the thumb and the third finger, so the circle, but not the other fingers. And release that. And then the last finger. And keep going. So we'll go back to the third finger, go back to the second finger. Notice if you stopped breathing, trying to figure out what your fingers and thumbs are doing. Try closing your eyes and doing this. And see what that feels like, right? So there's a sensation that we have internally of our bodies in motion, of where they are in space. And then there's that sensation we have when we look at our bodies in space. It can be a very different experience. What we see and what we feel, we often confuse those two things, right? So this is a good way to get to the heart of, am I feeling this or am I seeing this or what the heck is going on? And then when you're ready, you can let that go, kind of shake out your hands a little bit. Let your hands rest on your lap, close your eyes again. Sitting up nice and tall, take a deep breath in and out, and just notice what you feel. Notice any sensations in your fingers and hands now that maybe wasn't there before. Your wrists, your arms, your elbows. Up into your shoulders, which is where we started, into the chest and the upper back. We got a little bit of that and a little bit of the neck as well. Let your eyes open with this new awareness of your arms and hands. So let's get a little more work into the neck, because this is all very connected in here. As you can tell, right, just from that observation that we do, right, with the eyes closed, we sort of observe what things are going on. It's very easy to feel the interconnectedness of your fingers and your shoulders when you pause and you take a moment to just kind of go inside. So turning your head to the right, just your heads, look at how far you can see. Breathing in and breathing out, we're going to come back to the center and then go all the way over to the left. So let's do this very slowly, moving left to right or right to left, whichever way you start. And as you turn, notice what you're doing to get this turn to happen. And you're saying, what the heck do you mean by that? So your brain says turn to the right or turn to the left. And what happens? Do you look that way first? Do you turn your shoulder that way? Do you contract the neck muscles? Is that the first thing? Do you take a breath before you do it? Do you breathe at all while you're doing it? The next time your head is turned to one direction, doesn't matter which, just stay there. And with your head turned in that direction, drop your chin as close to your collarbone as you can. Breathe in, breathe out. Feel the stretch there. You might feel it into, excuse me, you might feel it in your neck, you might feel it into the back of your head. So just breathe into whatever you're feeling here. And then very slowly lift your head back up, turn to the other direction. And same thing, when you get all the way over there, just bring your chin as close to your collarbone on that side as you can. So bring your chin way, way down. Your collarbone, by the way, is right above your chest and below at the bottom of your neck. It's where your chest and your neck meet. Breathing in, breathing out. Again, just notice, what do you feel and where do you feel it? And there is no right or wrong answer to this. It's just what you're feeling. And then lift your head up. Relax and turn back to center. Okay, take a moment, close your eyes, and notice what you feel in your neck. Notice what you feel in your shoulders. If there's some extra tension in there, and there can often be some extra tension when we start to stretch something that's been really tight for a while, see if you can take a couple of breaths and relax your hands, your arms, your shoulders. You might imagine or envision the breath going right into those parts of your body. And let your eyes gently open. Okay, and then we're going to take the right ear and bring it over to the right shoulder, breathing in, breathing out, and then come back to center. Take your left ear to your left shoulder, and go really slowly here. We're going to go back and forth a couple of times. So just going to one side and then the other. And you might notice, oh, it's easier to go in this direction, not so easy in the other direction. And the next time you have an ear on the shoulder, kind of hold it here a little bit. See if you can bring your ear closer to your shoulder and bring your shoulder farther away from your ear. So it's like your shoulder's trying to move down and your ear is chasing it. Your ear is trying to get to your shoulder and your shoulder is going, nah, I don't think so. Breathe in, breathe out. And then bring your head back to center. Pause for a moment here at center. Notice if that side that we just stretched, if it feels different than the other side. And then bring your other ear to your other shoulder. Again, just kind of holding here. Now bring the shoulder down toward the floor and see if you can let your ear chase that shoulder a little bit. Breathing in, breathing out. Notice if you're creating tension in the opposite shoulder, relax that. All kinds of things we're noticing simultaneously, right? All kinds of different parts of the body doing different things, and then slowly bring your head back up. Good. And again, pause for a moment. Just notice what you feel. Maybe close your eyes. What does your neck feel like? What does your shoulder feel like? All right. Take a deep breath in. Let it out with a sigh and open your eyes. All right. Let's move right down to the bottom end of the body, the feet, right? So we started up here with the upper body. Things kind of warmed up. Let's get right to it here. Extend your right leg, have your heel on the floor, and let's squeeze and extend the toes. Now, how many of you are doing toe exercises on a regular basis? Good. Okay, keep at it. Keep at it. It does make a big difference. We'll go over the anatomy of the foot a little bit at some point too, just to help. I think I've said this before, 1/4 of all the bones in your body are in your feet. That's remarkable. And how much attention do you pay to your feet? Yeah, they are lucky if they get a cursory glance in the shower, right? Yeah, you look down and go, they're getting rinsed, they're fine. Close enough, yeah, close enough. Poor feet. And then let's start to point and flex the foot. Yeah, this is how we make contact with the earth. Like, think about that, right? Your feet are how you make contact with the ground. If your feet are in good health, your balance is going to be better. It's going to have positive effect on your knees, your legs, your hips, your back, your neck. You're going to smile more. I don't know if that's true, but it sounds good. And then let's start to circle at the ankle. Good, and reverse direction. I hear a little bit of ankle noise out there. Yeah, pretty normal. And then heel on the floor, and let's rotate the whole leg in and out a few times. So see if you can feel your whole leg rotating, right? All the way up to, way up at the top. You remember last week, those of you who were here, you saw that femur, right? Did you think your femur was that big? That's a big bone. That's the biggest bone in your body, your femur. So it's rotating in and out now, right? So that you remember the ball and socket? Yeah, so it's rotating on that little ball and socket. Some of you have aftermarket parts. They work the same. They work the same. Okay, and then we're going to bend that knee, bring that foot to the floor. Other side. So extending the left leg, start with the toes. Squeeze and extend. And breathe and notice. What do you feel in these toes, right? Do they feel different? Do they feel the same? You might have a little hammer toe. You might have a little crossover with some toes here. I talked last week a little bit about having shoe-shaped feet versus foot-shaped feet, right? Yeah, shoe-shaped feet, you usually end up with one or two toes that are crossed over or under, right? Foot-shaped feet, your toes don't cross. Okay, let's point and flex. Ooh, that was a good one. Somebody had a good crack out there. Excellent. Breathing in, breathing out. All right, and circle around. And you might notice this ankle works differently than the other one, right? Maybe you've had an injury with this ankle. Maybe it's just how your ankles are, right? One is different. And reverse direction of those circles. Okay, and then heel down, and we're just going to rotate the whole leg in and out. So you might put your hand up here to the top part of your thigh and just feel that. And again, if you're a visual person, remember that big femur that I was showing you last week. See if you can picture your nice, big, juicy bone rotating in that hip socket here. All right, good. Okay, and then we'll bend that knee, bring that foot to the floor. So make sure you're right up to the front edge of your seat and have your shoulders over your hips. So we don't want to be in a sort of slumpy position. We're going to start bending and extending the knees. So we'll start with the right knee. If you're having some difficulty with your knee or with your leg, you can always slide your foot, but I'm going to invite you to lift your foot off the floor and gently bend and extend, right? And as you're bending and extending, keep your foot flexed. And by that, I mean the toes are reaching toward the shin, right? So that's flexion, that's extension with your foot, right? Flexion is any time you bring one end of the bone closer to, or you bring one bone closer to the center of your body. That's flexion. This is flexion, and this is extension. Same thing with your leg. Flexion at the knee, and extension. Right? There'll be a test. Good. Next time you're extended, hold. So your leg is extended, but your foot is flexed. It's not a trick question. It is a fact. But now with your leg extended, I'm going to ask you to extend your foot. So point your foot. And let's flex and extend at the foot. Right? Notice what's happening up here in your thigh. Again, if this is too much, have your heel on the floor. That's okay. I'm just going to ask you to do this 2 more times because we're building some strength in those quadriceps muscles. So important, these muscles, for mobility, for independence. Okay, bend that knee, bring that foot to the floor. Whew. Take a break. Notice, right? Right side should be on fire. Left side is going, oh my God, I'm next. So let's get right to it, right? So we're going to extend and bend, right? So nice and slow. So if you need a little support, if your back is giving you a little trouble here, just have your hands on your chair. That can help keep your spine supported. Yeah. Just don't want to make sure your shoulders aren't up around your ears. You want to have the shoulders kind of down a little bit. Breathe in, breathe out. Foot is flexed. Remember, toes reaching toward the shin. Good. Okay. Next time you extend your knee, hold here, and now we're going to point and flex the foot. Good. This is hard. So we're asking a lot of the body right now. We're asking the thigh to do quite a bit of work. Hip flexor muscles have to do quite a bit of work. We'll get the attack of the phones here this morning. Breathing in, breathing out. Good. One more time. We're all okay? Yeah? You're holding your breath till we're done? Okay. Bend your knee and bring that down. Let's give those thighs a little massage so they just did a whole bunch of work. Ooh, yeah. All right. So one more little thing for the upper leg and into the hip. We're going to scoot over to the right side of your chair. Okay. And then we're going to lift up the right leg and step it up and over to the right. You guys know this. We do this quite often. Now, a couple things to watch as we go back and forth. Try not to use your upper body, right? In other words, try not to lean into the side. And try not to throw your leg up and over, right? Try not to use momentum. Go as slowly as you can. Now, you can hold on to the left side of your chair. I find this is very helpful for keeping me centered and in integrity with what I'm trying to do, which is to use the muscles here around the hip, right? So let's pause the next time your foot is in either position, doesn't matter where. Okay, and now imagine you've got to get that foot way up and over. So go as high as you can, up and over. Good. And you'll get to that point where you notice, if I go any higher, I'm going to have to do this, right? So get right to that point. Make sure you can breathe. I see furrowed brows. I see clenched teeth. Good. How about one more? This is really tough. And this is good. And anybody who's had a hip replacement knows this from PT, right? It's one of the things they make you do. Scoot over to the other side. Okay, so again, we'll start kind of at a comfortable pace, just kind of going up and over, right? Notice, okay, so this hip feels like it works a little differently, perhaps. I have more range here. Perhaps it's a little tighter here. Maybe this is the hip that is my original hip. Maybe this is something that has been replaced, or I had some surgery, or had an accident, or have some back issues. All kinds of things can happen, right? That will make it a little different on one side and the other. So good job, everybody. Next time your foot is in one position, doesn't matter which, we're going to do that really big, exaggerated up and over. And you want to get to the point where if I lift my leg any higher than this, I have to do this. I can't go any higher than that. Good. As long as you're breathing, coming up and over, nice and slow. It should be hard. It shouldn't be easy. If it's easy, you're not doing it right. Good. And the next time your foot comes back into the center, we're going to scoot right back to the center of the chair. Good. Okay, so come back. So we kind of have a little hill on the chair, right? Go to the back part of the hill a little bit. And you might even just have your forefoot on the floor. We're just going to go from side to side with the knees. And as you go one side with the knees, turn your body. If you press your hands into your chair, twist from the hips in the other direction. And then come back and go to the other side. So same thing. We're just twisting in the opposite direction a little bit here. Breathe in, breathe out. Good. It's looking good. All right, and then come back to center. Okay, one more hip thing. I kind of lied, so we're going to cross the right ankle on top of the left knee. So you all know this one, right? Now, if this is not possible for you, if this is just like way too much, there's a couple things you can do. You can cross at the ankle, or if you like, you can extend your other leg and try and bring this right leg up a little higher on that extended leg, right? Okay, so you're going to pull your knee, your right knee down toward the floor. And as you pull your right knee down toward the floor, I'm going to ask you to lengthen through the crown of your head so your spine gets taller. So you get taller and your knee gets closer to the floor. And then relax all of that, right? So we're kind of coming into this little bit of a compressed feeling. And then extend. So extend your spine, bring your knee to the floor, and then relax. Good. We'll do this a few times. So breathing in and breathing out. Great. That looks wonderful, everybody. The next time that you're extended and your knee is down toward the floor, I'm going to ask you to hold here and breathe. So you're as tall as you can be in your chair. Excellent. Your knee is reaching toward the floor. The muscles in the outside of your leg and the outside of your hip are really working here for that rotation. You might be feeling this anywhere in this leg. Some of us are going to feel it in the knee. Some of us are going to feel it in the hip. Some of us, lucky devils, get to feel it in the whole leg, right? So we feel it from the ankle all the way up. Isn't that amazing? So that's your muscular system and your fascial system kind of connecting things together. And then let's relax that. Good. Now, lean back a little bit. We're going to uncross this leg, and we're going to bring the knee up as close to the chin as you can get it. And bring your chin as far away from your knee as it can go. So your knee is working toward your chin, and your chin is saying, no dice. Not interested. Keep moving. And then let that go. Excellent. Take a moment. Just notice right side, left side. And then we'll cross the left ankle on top of the right knee. So same thing. You can cross at the knee. You can cross at the ankle with the knees, with the knee bent, or you can straighten that right knee and kind of bring your leg up, that extended leg a little bit, right? So whatever works for you. So once again, just kind of notice what you feel. For some of us, we're going to feel quite a bit here. I'm going to ask you to sit up really tall. So use the muscles in your spine. Pull your knee toward the floor as you lengthen your spine, and then relax that a little bit, right? So pull the knee down, lengthen the spine, and relax. So we'll do this a few times, right? So you feel this expansion and contraction, right? And that's happening in all the tissues in your torso. It's happening in your spine itself, right? So we're lengthening the spine. We have this image of a nice straight spine. And the next time that you're lengthened and you're pulling your knee toward the floor, I'm going to ask you to just hold here and breathe. Be as tall as you can in your seats. Pull the knee down as much as you can here. And again, you might be feeling this anywhere in this leg, in the hip, the knee, the thigh. You might be feeling it into the lower leg, maybe even into the ankle or foot. You're using the muscles in the outer part of that leg and the outer part of that left hip to create that intention and that action of pulling the knee down. And then relax that. Good. Lean back a little bit. We're going to uncross that leg, bring the knee up toward the chin, as close to the chin as it will go, and lift through your spine so you're bringing your chin away from your knee. So instead of your head just moving, see if you can do that with your whole spine. Breathing in, breathing out. Good, couple more. Excellent. And then slowly lower down. Great. Hands on your thighs, close your eyes, take a breath in and out. And notice your legs, your lower legs, your ankles, your knees, your thighs, your hips. Big breath in, let it out with a sigh, and let your eyes open. Good. Okay. So let's go right down to the feet. So have a look at your feet. Now I know most of you have your socks on, and that's okay. So I'm going to ask you to lift your toes up. Keep the balls of your feet on the floor. Lift your toes up and spread them really wide. So if you didn't have your socks on, you would be able to see between your toes, right? So for those who don't have their socks on, can you see some daylight between your toes? Maybe even just one toe? Maybe there's a little daylight there. So spreading the toes nice and wide, and now relax your toes, let them come down to the floor. And you're going to squeeze your toes together, but not scrunched. Does that make sense? So if my hand were my foot, right? So we just did this. We spread the toes nice and wide. And now we're going to bring them together. Let's do that with the hands, actually. That'll instruct your feet. Hands always instruct feet, right? So spread your fingers wide and then squeeze your fingers together. You're going to do the same thing with your toes. So let's do this, hands and toes. So spread them wide and then scrunch the toes together. It's a lot harder with your toes than it is with your hands, right? So you can continue with your hands or not, but continue for sure with your toes. I find it easier to bring the toes together when my feet are on the floor. You might find it easier to bring your toes together when your feet are not on the floor, in which case you might extend your legs a little bit and do it that way. For me, I tend to cheat, and I tend to scrunch my toes if I don't have the floor giving me the feedback. That just works for me. So we're spreading, and then we're squeezing, right? Everybody got that? Nobody's breathing. This would be a good time to breathe. Yeah, you're saying that is not a possible movement, Robin. Mm-mm. And then relax. Whew. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the easiest thing you've ever done in your life and 10 being the hardest, where are we? Wow. Okay, so nobody had 11, so that's good. That's good. We're at least in the range. That is a really hard thing to do. But we actually have muscles between our toes. We have some metatarsals here. You got the toes that you can see here, but your toes actually go into your foot a little bit more. We have some muscles there that actually, that's their whole job, is to do this position here, to pull your toes together. But we put our feet in shoes all the time. And what we've done is we've said to those muscles, we don't need you. Don't bother. So when we try and call on them, they don't know what their job is. So this is part of it, is just, this is on the job training for them, right? So we're just saying, okay guys, this is what you're supposed to do. So again, it might sound silly, but it really is helpful to use your hands and let your hands kind of instruct your feet to go, oh yeah, okay, we can do this, but it's that gathering together that I'm having some difficulty with. So that's going to be your homework for the next 6 months. Because we'll check in sandal weather if everybody's got this, right? Yeah, I'm checking in sandal weather. I want everybody's feet in good shape. So give that a try and see what you can do with that. Okay, keeping with a little bit of foot health here. So look at all your toes down there. Hello, toes. And see if you can raise just your big toes off the floor, but not any of your other toes. And then lower them down. And raise just your big toes and lower. And just, again, going back and forth. So if it's helpful to use your hands, so if your hands are like your feet, you're raising your thumbs and lowering your thumbs down. Right? So you're just using, thumbs are like, or big toes are like thumbs. Big toes are 4 times stronger than your other toes. Isn't that, that's pretty amazing, right? The angels are here today, I know. Okay, lower that down. And now we're going to raise all the little toes, but not the big toes. Little harder for some people, little easier for some people. It doesn't work at all. Okay. Even with the fingers trying to help, the toes are saying, yeah, no, this isn't happening. Right? Breathe in, breathe out. That's the only requirement, by the way. Breathe in, breathe out. Everything else is optional. Okay. Relax that. Okay. That's harder than the leg raises, right? Yeah. Okay, let's raise all the toes. Let's press just the big toes down, but none of the little toes. And then raise them back up. And again, so we'll just do this a few times. Right? So we're lowering those big toes and lifting. And lowering the big toes and lifting. Breathe in, breathe out. How's that all going out there? Mixed, huh? Yeah, mixed. That's the easiest one for you. All right. It changes everything, right? This is a good little exercise to do for those bunions. Bunions are because you have a shoe-shaped foot. Yeah. A mother had a shoe-shaped foot, yes. She gave it to you. That's, oh, see? Yeah, we got to break the cycle. All right, now we're going to lift all the toes. We're going to lower all the little toes and keep the big toes up. That's easy, right? Piece of cake. That's really hard, right? Yeah. See? Different opinions. Good. Keep breathing. All right. Well, that was easy. All right. So relax your toes for a minute. So how many found it easier to lower the big toes versus raising the big toes? That was not a trick question. So is it easier to lower your big toes? To raise your big toes? Raise them. Okay, was it easier to lower all your little toes or to raise all your little toes? Raise them. Okay. All right. Some are like, I don't know. All right, let's raise all the toes. Press just your big toes and just your last toes down, but not your middle toes. Get this same reaction. 6 months. 24. She's negotiating. How about October? Okay. And relax that. Let's try that again. Raise all your toes. Big toes down, baby toes down, nothing in the middle. Everything in the middle is lifted. Use your hands to instruct, or you can physically use your hands to instruct, right? Yeah. Part of this is a brain connection. Part of this is a synaptic connection in your nervous system. Part of this is, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. But the bigger part of it is that you've had your feet in shoes most of your life, right? And so we've lost that ability. When my foot is in a shoe, I can't lift my big toe up. For those of you who are in shoes, how successful are you at lifting your big toe up very high? Just the big toe. You're limited, though, by the amount of room in your toe box, right? Spreading your toes in your shoes. It's really difficult to do, especially if our shoes are a little narrow. And even our athletic shoes, if you look at it, most of you have sneakers and athletic shoes, but if you look at your shoes, if the toe box goes like this as opposed to like that, you are creating a shoe-shaped foot. It's like wearing braces on your feet, right? Because you're actually going to move the bones. So the bunions, you were saying something about bunions. Bunions are when this bone here has to go out to the side a little bit because this toe comes over. And in order for you to continue to walk forward, your body is trying to correct. Because remember what I said about the big toe being 4 times stronger than your other toes? This is the push-off point. So when I'm walking, I need this. If this is going that way, the body says, uh-oh, something else has to keep this ship upright. Let's bring this bone over a little bit more. And then we get that nice big bunion because it's trying to correct. Your body's trying to correct for it. All right. Where are we going? Okay. Come right up to the front edge of your chair. Have your feet underneath your knees. Have your shoulders right above your hips. Sitting up nice and tall. Close your eyes. Take some nice deep breaths in and out. And feel your feet on the floor. Just feel them from the inside, right? So feel the bottoms of your feet. And again, I know most of you are at least in socks, so feel the inside of your socks. Hopefully they're nice and soft and comfortable. See if you can get a sense of your big toe and your second toe, and all the little toes after that. And the bottoms of your feet. See if you can get a sense of the bottoms of your feet, right? Where are the bottoms of your feet in contact with the floor? Like your heel. Can you feel your heel? Or if you have 2 of them, which most of us do, your heels on the floor. Can you feel the outer edges of your feet on the floor? The bottoms of your toes, the ball mounds of your feet. So that's where your toes, when they come into your foot, you have those joints there that create the balls of your feet, and you got little ball mounds on all your toes. See if you can feel all the ball mounds on the floor. Now, if you've got toes that cross over one another, you're probably not able to feel all the mounds of all the toes on the floor. You're going to have some that are raised. See if you can feel a lift through your arch. And that's that inner arch that I'm talking about, the one that runs down the center of your foot, the middle of your foot. And then coming up from your feet, so your feet are on the floor, you can feel that connection. Maybe press down a little bit into your feet and then see if you can feel your leg muscles activate when you do. So now you're aware of your lower legs, your ankles perhaps, and your knees. And then see if you can feel your thighs. Get a sense of the muscles in your thighs and your hips. As you're pressing into your feet, as you're noticing your feet, your legs, your hips, see if you can feel your spine, and notice if you're kind of leaning forward a little bit, see if you can lean back slightly so that your shoulders are above your hips. Lengthen up through your neck, the front, the back, and the sides. So not lifting the chin up, actually keeping the chin parallel and level to the ground. So you're reaching up through the top of your head. Now, as you're holding this posture in your body, begin to deepen your breathing. And as you deepen your breathing, holding the posture, see where you can relax your muscles. So is it possible to stay in this posture but not work so hard to be there? Let the breath create space as you breathe in and out, feeling your rib cage, your belly, and your collarbones expanding and contracting. So you're simultaneously feeling your body, getting a sense of your posture, where you are in space. You're sensing your breath moving in and out. And now, as you're holding both of those things in your awareness, bring your attention to your mind, and specifically the thoughts. The thoughts are little disturbances in the mind. It's kind of like waves on the ocean. If your mind was an ocean, then your thoughts would be the waves. So notice, are the waves kind of big and choppy today, or are they nice and calm and easy, rolling waves? Breathing in, breathing out, feeling your body, sensing your thoughts, noticing all of this happening simultaneously. The world inside of you. There's a lot going on here. We spend much of our lives preoccupied with what's happening in the outer world, and it only takes a moment to drop into the inner world to see what's happening here. Sensations in my right foot or my left shoulder, my right ear, my right thumb, wherever in your body that you're feeling something, sensing something. The flow and rhythm of your breath, it's kind of that constant movement of air in and out. The expansion and contraction in your body with every breath. And again, the activity in your mind, those thoughts, like waves. This is all happening at the same time, and you can pay attention to all of it simultaneously. And at the same time that you're paying attention to all of this activity inside your own body, the world goes on outside of you. There's movement in the building, there's activity happening in other rooms, there's activity happening outside the building and in the town and beyond. Take your hands up to your heart, right to your chest, holding your palms against your chest. Take a breath in, let it out with a nice sigh. And if you'd like, you can take your hands together and just take a moment to thank yourself for all of these wonderful activities that happen inside your body that you're not even aware of most of the time. The sensory part of your physical body, the breathing part of your body, the mental part of your body. And then if you'd like, you can maybe open your eyes and maybe a little gratitude to all of these wonderful people here. It's so great to be in a group, in community with you all. And thank you. And Happy New Year. Great. And we'll see you all next week. So have a great rest of your day. Oh, and please put away chairs if you don't mind, because they're doing Zumba next. Thank you, Janet.